Hello everyone, how are you? Thanks for coming in. Farah, Rickstar, Christopher, good to see you. Farah says, Train Sim Driver made a great scenario last night for the Steam route. A lot more activity. He did, and I've actually subscribed to it as well. That's not the one I was going to run today. I was going to run on one on Brighton today, but I have subscribed to that, so we'll definitely run that one. Looks like he spent quite a lot of time setting that one up, didn't he? I'm good, Rickstar. How are you? Good to see you. Now, I'll just share the link to this in the Discord, just so people know about it. Give me 1 second. Right, done. Oh, thanks for that, Christopher. Appreciate it. Farah, you stayed up 4 hours watching. Yeah, because he did it live, didn't he? Yeah. That's a lot of setting up, isn't it, as well, to do for a route like that. It's not easy doing that, to be honest. Especially when you've got an audience watching you as well. So let's get underway then. One more thing just to do. Give me 1 second. Right, I think we're sorted. 5 a.m. it finished. Wow, that's you're keen as well there, Farah, staying up for that one. Because that is a long night, isn't it? But the good news is we are going to do Creators Club, and somebody else that you guys are probably familiar with, another one of the Dovetail ambassadors, like Train Sim Driver, is the British Ace. One of his favourite routes is the Brighton route from rush hour, and if I look in my subscriptions, if it loads up, look at this. I hope this isn't a sign of what's going to happen. This is the one that you're talking about, I think, Farah, this one. The 8F relief for non-revenue carriages, so we'll run that one at some point. The one I was thinking of for today is this one, Brighton Jubilee. Navigate your way to Brighton on this steam rail tour service. Take control of a Jubilee class steam locomotive starting from the capital at London Victoria. So it's London Victoria calling in at Haywards Heath, and then finally Brighton. So that's the one that we're going to do. So if you want to subscribe to this one, those are the details there. So you can do so. So let me find London Commuter, Tools. There it is, Brighton Jubilee. So we'll start with this one. Right, so we're 454 tons, 12 coaches, and a length of 241 yards. So let's get everything set up. We're actually ready to go. What I'm going to do first is put the lamp on so we can see. The cylinder cocks are open. That's good. Let's get the reverser up to the full 75. We need to put the pressure up. So we need a large ejector. We've got to wait for that to come to 21 before we can leave. 873 subscribers. Sure, that's higher than yesterday. It is. Yeah. I think we had a couple of new subscribers overnight, so thank you to everybody for that. This is what we're waiting for. Once that gets to 21, then we're good. Let's have a look outside first. There's the Jubilee. This is the Jutland today. So there is a list on the Dovetail forum actually of all the Jubilees that you can spot, because they've all got a nameplate, and there's a big list of those. You can sort of tick those off as you go. Right, that's at 21. Let's close this. Brakes are off. Let's get underway. We'll try and race this one out the station if we can. Good afternoon, Venom. How are you? As we go, guys, just let me know about the sound as well, because Steam has a habit of being quite noisy compared to some of the other stuff that we do. So we can close the cylinder cocks now. Venom, you wouldn't have a clue how to drive the steam trains. Do you know what? It's actually fairly straightforward. I've been very surprised, very pleasantly surprised, I should say, because I mean I drive a lot of trains as part of the Dovetail Ambassador scheme, but never a steam train, and I thought it was a bit daunting to start with. In the run up to it being released, I was thinking, how am I going to do this now? It looks so complicated, so many different levers and bits and pieces in the cab. But actually, the way they've done it is quite clever. I think it helps having the automatic fireman, so you just have to concentrate on the driving. But after a couple of runs, you don't need the crib sheet anymore. You can kind of work it out for yourself, which is what quickly happened with me. So if you've got Train Sim World 2 and you haven't got the Steam, Spirit of Steam, I'd encourage you to pick it up. You know, don't be put off because you think it might be complicated. We got an invisible fireman on this one, which is the first time I've seen that actually. I know lots of people have said the fireman's invisible, but I've always had Joyce with me, and Joyce isn't here today. So the fire is being sorted out, but there's nobody doing it. Right, let's open up the regulator a little bit. Let's put this down to 50 now that we're going. It does sound good, doesn't it, Christopher? Yeah. It sounds good and it looks good. All the workings down here, the wheels. It's very intricate, isn't it? And the other thing to say is, of course, because this is the Brighton main line, which you know, most people that have got Train Sim World 2 will have. And this is a really long run down to Brighton, and it's great that you can now do a rail tour with a steam train on all these routes that you love anyway. I haven't driven this yet on Northern Transpennine, which has always been my favourite route for a long time. I need to do that, and there's a lot of scenarios for that. I do have a freight scenario actually that I downloaded from Creators Club that I need to run, and that's on Northern Transpennine, so I'm quite looking forward to that. But for now, let's get fully open. We can drop the reverser down to 25, which will help keep the steam pressure up. Here we go. Forrest says it'll be good on Northern Transpennine. It works well on West Somerset too. I did run one on West Somerset, the full length of the route. I've always had a soft spot for West Somerset. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea because of the speed, but what a pleasure it was running a steam train on there. I actually did a freight run. There was a scenario on there. It was in a Dovetail Live article last week. It goes the whole length of the line and goes all the way out to Norton. So I did that, just where it meets the main line, right at the end, which is only actually used in a couple of scenarios, I think, in the rest of the game. So it was nice to have a run straight up there and past Bishop's Lid Yard and out there. It took well over an hour, but what a pleasurable experience it was. I enjoyed every minute of it. You've got TSW2 Venom, but usually wait for a sale. That's a good policy, to be honest. There's a lot of DLC, isn't there? It's often difficult to choose. But this one, this is the best one so far. You know, Northern Transpennine did, as I say, that held the sort of mantle for me as being my favourite one. This London Commuter came very close as well when this came out. But Spirit of Steam now, I think, has took over that. So this is Clapham Junction. Just open the regulator again now. Hey Myrtle, how you doing? Good to see you. Have you picked up Spirit of Steam yet, Myrtle? Or are you still working your way through the initial routes? Because I know you just got TSW, didn't you, the other week? Right, I'm going to fully open the regulator. Because we're on a gradient here, 0.6. Nearly ran into the Gatwick Express there. Let's just have a look in the guards van. We've got the guards van at the front. And the passengers probably loving this run. Myrtle, you picked up steam, jumped out of the train by accident and had a runaway. You weren't at the top of Edge Hill, were you, when you did that as well, and sent it crashing down into Lime Street? Hey Stace, how are you? Nice to see you. That lurking's fine, don't worry. I have this picture of you, Myrtle, now diving out of the cab onto the track and frantically running behind. You were near Crewe, were you? Right, okay, it's pretty flat at Crewe, isn't it? But if you left the reverser on and the regulator open, then yeah, you're going to have a bit of trouble there. You can hear the track sounds as well, which are great. I love that. This is how you learn though, Myrtle. You need to have a runaway train a couple of times to properly understand what it is you need to do. As long as you're not live streaming it like this, you'll be alright. Sat on the fireperson's chair, got stuck, then jumped out of the door by accident. You mean you also left the doors open as well? Oh, that's the point. Did I shut the doors? I think I started off in the cab. Yeah, there you go. The doors were shut. So you were sat over there on that seat, were you? You were sat there and somehow you dived through the door. That's brilliant. This run's a really relaxing run. We've got 30 miles just to go to Haywards Heath, and then we've got to go to Brighton after that. What's that, another 10 miles or so after Haywards Heath? You were running after the train and got mission failed. Did you not record it, Myrtle? Because that would have been gold, that one. I'd have loved to have seen that. It's all part of the experience, Myrtle. Don't worry about it. What I need to do with this run, just talking about not jumping out of the train and putting brakes on, etc. Once I get to Haywards Heath, I need to brake early, because I had a quick look at this yesterday and didn't stop in time at Haywards Heath, shot through the platform, reversed back in, and once I reversed back in, the signal was on red, and I backed up and the engine was behind the signal, if you will. So you see the signal now is in front of the engine. I backed into the platform with the signal in that position, but it had turned to red, and from there on I lost the path and couldn't carry on to Brighton, which was a shame. So I need to make sure I don't overshoot this time into Haywards Heath, which is difficult sometimes because it's like Route 128 on Boston Sprinter, where because it's on a straight piece of track, the braking seems more difficult. You've no sort of reference points to help slow you down, and you can leave it a little bit too late and shoot straight through. So that's what I did yesterday, so I'm aiming not to repeat that this time. So it's just up to 60. We've got a 60 limit coming up in just over a mile as well. Let's change view. I want the view that is on top of the cab. There it is. This is a great view. This is it. I love this. It's also a great way to see the route as well. Because the visibility from inside the cab of the steam loco is not that great, for obvious reasons. It's got that small sort of portal window there at the front. So most of the time the driver has got his elbow on the window, sort of like this, and he's leaning out. He's looking out the side, which is why there's this little screen to stop the wind buffeting him back in. Right, I'm going to close the regulator because we've got a 45 coming up. In fact, you can see the driver there doing exactly what I just said. He's got his elbow on the window. You'll see him start to lean out. There he goes. Take the brakes off again. I think we do actually get a red. That's 2 yellows, so we've got a single after this one. We'll get plenty of braking because I don't want to miss it. You see now the regulator's fully off, it's allowed the steam to recover. The top dial there in the hood, bottom left, the top one's now back up to 225, so you can hear the safeties blowing away all the excess pressure there, so we don't get an explosion. It's basically what it's doing. So the brakes are still coming off at the moment. That's the safeties there blowing out the top. So we've got a green, so we're good to go. Sounds fantastic, doesn't it? Are you currently stuck on the freight? Clock face, colliery, Speak Junction in the rain, can't get going, keep spinning. Tried less power, not sure what to do. Is it the wagons that you're pulling, Myrtle? If you've got the flat wagons, you need to go along. There's a bit of a problem with it at the moment. You need to go along. You need to pull the brakes manually because the vacuum brakes are stuck on. The wagons are in the wrong place in the train, so the vacuum doesn't go all the way to the back of the train. Oh, here's British Ace. How you doing, Joe? Do you recognise this one? You can't hear me. That's fine. I'll type you. Then you can see. Just in case you can't hear me, it's your scenario, Joe. So I showed off the Creators Club entry at the beginning in case anybody wants to download it. Right, let's open up the regulator a little bit because we've got a 60 coming up. The other thing I didn't, before I ran this, the other thing I didn't really notice as well, which you do notice in a steam train, is on this particular route the gradient changes. There's been a lot of, since Victoria, there's been a lot of uphill gradient so far, and driving the other trains on this route, the standard trains you get with it, not really noticed. But it makes more of a difference with a steam train. That's my experience of it, and it's made me notice the sort of undulation of the route. It's constantly up and down. Oh, the coal wagons, Myrtle. Right, not sure. Are you using the sander? Make sure you leave the sander on. That'll give you a grip. I think if the coal wagons, then the thing I said about the brakes doesn't matter. But you might need sand, and don't forget, it might take a while for the brakes to come off. Keep your eye on the brake gauges, which are the ones you can see here on the hood. The black one, BC, that's the loco brake. The red one, the vac brake, that's all the wagons or coaches behind you. So just make sure, you see now the brakes are off. The loco brake's at 0 when the brake's fully off. The vacuum brake is at 21 when it's fully off, so it's kind of like opposite. So before you try and put too much power in, just make sure your brakes are at 0 at the top there and 21 at the bottom, and put some sand in, and just do it very, very slowly, sort of 15 to 20 on the regulator, and see if it eventually picks up. It takes a little bit of time for it to pull the weight, if you know what I mean, to pick it up. And you might find you go sort of 0.1 of a miles per hour to begin with, but at least then you're moving forwards. Just trial and error, just give it a go. Right, let me open the regulator full. All the regular trains on this route getting a nice view. They're all sat on ironing board seats when they could have this level of comfort. Don't forget to leave me a like, everyone, if you don't mind. That will be perfect. Right, so we've still got 23 miles to Haywards Heath. Thanks for that, Myrtle, appreciate that. See, even the whistle's got steam. See, it has its own steam coming out there when you engage the whistle, which is quite nice. Thanks everyone for coming in though. This is another one of those kind of just felt like it streams, so it's nice to see that some of you guys have popped in as well. Had a heavy morning of meetings, so I thought, right, I'll just take an hour or so off and just jump on and chill out for a little bit. So it's good to see you guys in. And I was also keen to show the steam trains on different routes as well, because obviously Spirit of Steam, the route itself, Crewe to Liverpool, has been the main topic the last couple of weeks, as it rightly should be, because it's an excellent route. But it's also important to remember that, you know, you might have another favourite route. This might be your favourite route. There's no reason why you can't do this and go to Creators Club and download a couple of scenarios to run these on your own favourite route, or indeed create your own scenarios and upload those to Creators Club. There's plenty of stuff on there. There's also a lot of variation on the liveries as well now, which is nice to see. Players have been recreating different liveries for the Jubilee and the 8F. This is the standard livery on this one. And there was, of course, the free livery that DTG made, which was the Jubilee, the Queen's Jubilee, that is, livery. That's quite a nice one. So grab that one as well. So the steam pressure's still good. It's dropped a little bit, that's because we're running at 100% regulator up this very slight hill, but that will recover once we start to drop the regulator. There we are, 45684, the Jutland. Still got 20 miles to go, so it's a decent run for this train. And the other thing, just talking about mileage as well, just as an aside, it just reminded me, I'm on PlayStation, of course, PlayStation 5, and if you're one of those players that collects trophies, I need something like 350 miles in any local in total to be able to get the final trophy, which means to get the platinum again, which will be the third Train Sim World related platinum I've got, which is quite nice. So all these long runs are contributing towards that, so it'd be nice to get another platinum. I got the original Train Sim World platinum, and then I got Train Sim World 2 on the PS4 platinum, and then this will be the PS5 version as well, so that's 3 in total. So the good news is, if you are collecting trophies on the PS5, the core trophies, so far they're all working. Ferry, you need 1300 miles from your third, so you're not far away then, yeah? It's surprising, isn't it, when you go back and look how many miles you've actually done across all the routes, and just how far you've actually driven. You don't realise that you actually go that far. It's 10,000 miles for the actual trophy, isn't it? So to be 1,300 away from 10,000, given, when did the PS5 version come out? September, wasn't it? Was it September? Was it August? Could have been mid-August, couldn't it? So it's not bad going, really. Let's hope the mileage bug doesn't happen this time. Yeah. $18 miles here with T. End of August the PS5 version came out. Yeah, I had a feeling it was somewhere around the bank holiday, sort of beginning of September. Yeah, I remember that, Farah, yeah. So we've got an 80 coming up. I'll ease back on the regulator. In fact, I'll close it for now, which will help us recover some of that steam pressure. because we're going downhill. You see that needle coming back up to 225 now. I've shut off the regulator. Put a little bit of brake in. Saying that, we've got a 90 in 200 yards, so I won't worry too much. Cold door opens, which is quite good, and you know about the lamp already, which is the equivalent of a cab light on this train, because of course there wasn't such a thing back then. You can open these as well. I don't want to do that while I'm moving, because I don't know what that's going to do to the train. I don't want to lift off or anything. So the safety's blowing again on the top, you can see there, because we've not got the regulator open, so nothing's using the steam right now. We're just coasting. There's something quite hypnotic as well about driving one of the steam trains, especially at lower speeds where you get the sound of the engine, the steam pumping out the top of the engine. It's quite relaxing. And it's such a different experience to the rest of the routes we've got in TSW2 and the DLCs. It's a completely different experience. And not just the way the engine drives, just it's the nostalgia of it as well, which I didn't quite expect to feel that nostalgic. But when you're actually running this on the Spirit of Steam route, it definitely does take you back to that. That's well, what I imagine, because I wasn't alive then, obviously, but it's how I imagine it would be in 1958. And there's something about that, and the way the stations are set out, especially Lime Street, and the passengers with the period clothing, it all adds to it. It's very atmospheric, very nostalgic. And I'm not paying attention that there's 60 coming up. Keep your eye out for the aircraft passing in front, because this is Gatwick. We're overspeeding a little bit. Quick toot to anyone at Gatwick. Here's a plane coming in from the left. The old and the new together. There's the airport itself. I don't think he's landing though. I think he's on a go around. Maybe he was watching the steam train and forgot to stop. On to Haywards Heath, 10 miles. You see what I mean? After a period of largely going downhill, we've got a slight uphill gradient again on this stretch. So I'm going to open the regulator. Nice to be back on the trains though. I don't think we've done trains on stream for a couple of weeks. We've done plenty of busing, we've done plenty of trucking, we've done plenty of mowing lawns, so it's nice to be back on the trains. Got the regulator up now, 100%. So it's working its way. This is the view that the train spotters like, isn't it? Out of this window. Any steam train you see, there's generally someone with their head stuck out of this window. .2 miles, 8.1 miles actually. Sit on front of the engine for a while. Take a look at London Commuter close up. Did I put any lights on? I didn't put any lights on, did I? There we go. I still need to download the sheet which tells me the combinations of the lights and what the service actually means. I'm not familiar with that yet, but for now we'll do it for prettiness sake, I think. 7 miles. I'm going to keep, as I said, I'm going to keep a very close eye as we get nearer to Haywards Heath so that I stop before before the signal this time and not go all the way through the platform. I don't want to do that again. That'll be an abrupt end to the stream. So don't forget, if you want to pick this one up, just rewind afterwards to the beginning of the stream and you'll see the screen from Creators Club as to what this scenario is. This one by the British Ace, but the details are right at the beginning of the stream if you just go back to the beginning. I think I'll have a look and see if there's a scenario being created for West Cornwall as well, because I think it would look nice at West Cornwall, this one. There's bound to be one on there. So I can hear our fireman and his shovel. There it goes. There's coal going in there now, but I don't actually see him still. Got the little flask of tea right over here. Turn that lamp off now. .7 miles. Everybody stands well back on the platform when this thing comes thundering through. I wonder how much it would cost as a passenger to go on a rail tour like this between London and Brighton. I imagine it wouldn't be cheap. Right, I'm going to take the regulator down to closed. Got 2.8 miles, we're on a slight downhill gradient. I want to make sure we stop. Here's the viaduct. Right, I'm going to put some brake in. So the brake takes some time to build up and apply, so It takes some skill to be able to judge it exactly right. I quite often stop short once the brake starts to kick in. It slows you down that bit faster. We're just about a mile to go. See the speed starting to come off now quite nicely. So I release the brake. Hopefully we won't come to a complete stop short. So remember the local brake at the top, the BC, will go to 0 when it's fully off. The vacuum brake will go to 21 when it's fully off. So you can see there, it releasing slowly. It's quite a long train. Is it 12 coaches? I think we're 12 coaches. So we'll take the driver's view down the platform. That's the other good thing about these Creators Club scenarios. You're not timed as to when you need to be at a certain place. Not strictly anyway. So we'll apply a little bit more brake. So this was the signal I missed. I went straight through the platform yesterday, reversed back in, but I reversed right up to the objective marker there, so I was the wrong side of the signal, which had changed to red. And then I lost the path and couldn't continue. So get the doors open, let me put the brakes on, that will help. This is Hayward's Heath. Some nice flower boxes there. So just whilst we're stopped, cylinder cocks to open. We'll just wait here a few seconds. Let's get the regulator up to 75, ready to leave. The steam pressure's recovered back up to 225, so that's good. Close the doors. And release the brakes. Let's go on to Brighton. 12 miles to Brighton. Brakes are coming off. We've opened the regulator a little bit, so once the brakes allow, we'll roll forward. There we go. Right, let's close those. Then, as we get the regulator up to 100%, we can drop the reverser down to 25. Brighton Platform 3 is where we're headed. So let's hope everybody's got the buckets and spades. Doesn't look like it. They're not dressed for the beach, are they? That guy might be over there with a spotty top on. Right, let's go and sit on top of the engine again, as we were doing before. Picking up speed nicely now. Steam pressure's still good. I think off down there is, if you've got the East Coast way and you run the class 66 from Lewis down to Seaford, that little line that was going off there to the left is the one that, if it was connected, would take you down to Lewis. So you imagine it curves left to Lewis, and and that's where the 66 is waiting for you when you take over those services. But on here, on this line, it obviously just runs it. It's just for illustration, really. Can't actually drive down there. The East Causeway route is off to our left here, so as we pull into Brighton, you'll see the viaduct, etc. over to the left. It would be nice, Farry, yeah, it would be such a nice thing, wouldn't it, if you could take the whole thing to London from Seaford. Or take people down to Brighton ferries down at East Causeway. Via the same route. Seven miles to go. Doing nicely. 70 uphill. Regulators fully open. Steam's good. I think Dovetail have always said that the route mergers, at least right now, isn't possible, and it also creates issues with, because it's connecting DLCs, creates issues where some players might not have access to one or other of the connecting DLCs. So I don't know whether that will ever get fixed in the future, but I agree with you, Farry, it would be nice if you could connect them up. Some of the German ones are like that as well, aren't they? Riz Ignored is one of those. Has a connection. We've got two lines with Dresden in as well, haven't we? But they're different time periods, so that one probably wouldn't work. Just 5 miles to go, not far at all now. That's probably the most requested one, Fire, isn't it, that one? You know, I've not run anything on the Great Western Railway for a while. I actually quite like the Diesel Legends as well for Great Western. I quite like dipping into that every now and again. Chance to give those diesels a really good run, which we couldn't do for ages and ages when we had the 52 on the West Somerset, and there was no scenario designer. We had to stick to the 25 miles per hour, but now you can run it anywhere, and in fact Diesel Legends has its own BR Blue 52, which is quite nice. Right, we're speeding. Well, we will be speeding in 700 yards, so we'll put a slight bit of brake in. Got 3 miles to Brighton. I think the only thing I've not got far is the was it the extended journeys pack? I haven't got that one. Yes, as you start to look over to your left now, you see Brighton there in the distance, but if you look very carefully on the left as we approach, you'll see the viaduct as well from East Causeway. So just bring this speed down to 40. Yeah, East Causeway goes off over that direction. There's the viaduct, you can just see it right above the steam there. So you players of East Causeway will recognise that. There it goes. So there's Brighton Station ahead. Now we do need to manage the brakes well here. There's no chance here to go shooting through the station, else it would be a little bit of a disaster, to say the least. Being as there is nothing beyond the station, so need to be very careful. It's best to come in slow. The Gatwick Express trains here on the left, waiting, ready to go. Everybody will be wondering though when this one is about to turn around and go back. They won't want to catch that one when this one's sat there. It's nice how the whistle echoes as well in the enclosed station. That's a nice touch. Look at the shadow as well of the roof. So this has been a really nice one, actually. So go and pick this up. This one's by the British Ace. As I say, go back to the beginning of the stream, and all the details are there if you want to subscribe to it. But it's worth checking out. And just generally, just have a look on Creators Club. There's a lot of clever stuff on there, to be honest. And it gives you some further playability for your other routes. So that was it. 50 miles, just short of 51 miles. An hour and 7 minutes. We didn't rush it. We took our time. If action points are your thing, 6,849 action points, which isn't bad. So yeah, that was it. Hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. And thanks everybody for jumping in on this ad hoc, unplanned stream. I do appreciate it. Thanks for all the likes. Be back soon with the next one. Until then, everybody take care. See you next time.